And hello there, my people of YouTube. This is gonna be my it's gonna be a video pretty much talking about Magic the Gathering, Avatar: The Last Airbender. I recently did a pre-release. I didn't do that bad actually. I went with zero expectations, and I managed to place like second. I went 2-0 in my first game. And then I went 1 win, 1 loss, and won the third game. It was a pretty close game, I'm not gonna lie. Third game I swept him first round, and then he sideboarded, and I couldn't do anything after that. So I placed second overall in the little pre-release tournament I did. So I figured I'd show the deck profile of this. Actually, a lot of people said that I'm a little like I was being very risky because I ran 3 colors in this deck, but I ran blue and white and green. What made me go for that was essentially Katara the Fearless. Really good card. Kind of glad I got her as my the promo. So, Katara the Fearless is if triggered ability of an ally you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time, which really did come in handy. So that's probably like one of my favorite cards that I pulled from this pre-release. I'm just gonna post right now like the cards that really carried me. Toph, the Bandit. Katara came in handy. Very rarely though. She's very hard to summon in this 40 deck card. So essentially, yeah, these actually no, I missed out one. Actually, the MVP of this deck was probably, hold on, where are you, buddy? This guy right here. That guy was my MVP, the Earth King. So the Earth King is a really cool card. He definitely carried me through matches. Legendary creature, human, noble ally. When the Earth King enters, create a 4/4 green bear creature token, which is pretty strong. Whenever one or more creature you control with power 4 or greater attack, search your library for up to that many basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. So this card just made sure that I could like bring out stuff like Katara, the Water Tribe's Hope, which was another card that kind of helped me a little bit. Not too much, not as impactful as this guy right here, this guy, and Mowgli over here, Mowgli the bear, definitely carried me. She pretty much has vigilance, and when she enters, I create a 1/1 white ally creature token, and then the water bend. So you put mana into X. So creatures you control have base power and toughness of XX. So whatever mana you put into that effect, like it will be like if I put 5 mana into it, my creatures will be a 5/5, which simultaneously like triggered his ability to get me more lands onto the field. And lands were really amazing in this build because Toph over here. When Toph enters, you Earthbend. So Earthbending is pretty much turning your land into a 1/1 token. Well, depending on Earthbend. So if it says Earthbend 2, then I would put 2+1 counters on it, and it makes the lands come in with haste, so they're ready to attack. And then Toph's power is equal to that many lands that have the +1s. So it really did pack a punch in a few games. So if I were to have like Katara and then like her ability activated, that would net another 2, etc., etc. So it was a really like good. It just worked really well. This guy actually clutched it a lot for me too. So between Aang and the Earth King, I would probably rate Earth King as like probably my most like essential card, and then I would probably have to say Aang or either Toph or Katara. So I think Toph and Katara are pretty tied, but Aang was pretty amazing. So he's a flying So you already know, like flying, you know, if they don't have anything that flies, that's a direct hit. You know, attack your life. When Aang enters, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a creature card with mana value 4 or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. When another creature you control leaves the battlefield, transform Aang at the beginning to a 4/4 of the next upkeep. So I transformed Aang a lot, and he was disgusting. So he continues to have flying, and land creatures you control have vigilance. So now my lands don't untap when I attack. So at the beginning of combat on your turn, Earthbend 2. So every time I would have this on the field, I would just generate more Earthbending creatures, which would give Toph like a ridiculous attack stat, you know. So it was pretty sick. Some spells in here. We have Rocky Rebuke. I'm gonna put all the lands to the side for now, so I'm gonna leave that for last because that's kind of like, you know, I guess I'll explain how I rationed it towards the end. I probably could have done a little bit better. Yeah, I think those are all my lands. So I'm gonna put this to the side. I did try to, whatchamacallit, I guess, I didn't realize I had this card. So if I would have added this, I mean, I don't think it would have made a difference in my earlier games, considering I like swept. But I also added Crashing Wave. So yeah, these two were not necessarily in all the games. Those are kind of like the last ones I've added. So, for instance, I had Rocky Rebuke. Target creature controls deals damage equal to its power to target creature and opponent controls. So essentially, if I had my board like this, which I did for a little bit, I didn't really face any problems till I started facing my last opponent. He sideboarded and decided to add a lot of like removals, so he exiled a lot of my creatures. But if he wouldn't have done that, I probably would have won first place. I didn't really have any counters to put in this deck. I didn't rip any counters. Maybe I didn't read it properly. So Rocky Rebuke, I had 1. Pillar Launch was pretty good for 1 mana. Target creature gets +2/+2 and gains reach until end of turn. Untap. I would use this if I would have attacked. If I would have attacked my previous turn, it was my opponent's turn. He was about to attack me. I would just use this instant, untaps my creature, they gain +2/+2, and then I would like kill their creature. So that was good. Water Tribe Captain, it's okay. This was like a hit or miss for me, but for 5 mana, each creature I control gets +1/+1. Again, this was like towards late game. It would ramp up my stuff, and then Earth King would do his thing, and I would just have more lands. Fancy Footwork was pretty good. Untap 1 or 2 target creatures, they get +2/+2 until end of turn, so pretty much what Pillar Launch does. Rowdy Snowballer was very, it came in very handy actually. When I didn't have anything, or didn't have the right amount of mana to summon, like let's say something like Katara or Aang, this would come in handy. It would stall me, because when this creature enters, tap target creature and opponent controls and put a stun counter on it, so that bought me some time. Sword of Revealing Light, you know, 1 sword, but hey, nonetheless, it did its thing. Earthbending Lesson, Earthbend 4, so it essentially, like, it just gave me a bigger land. I only had 1 of those. Origin of Metal Bending, this was actually my only kind of, like, I guess removal, but most of the things I was trying to remove were creatures, but it would destroy an artifact or an enchantment. I barely ran across artifacts or enchantments, so the majority of the time I would use this card. For example, if I didn't want, like if they were to use an instant to ramp up their creature, like I would just use this to give indestructible to my creature, that way my creature didn't die. So I would use this more as a defensive thing. So it gives you put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control, It gains indestructible until end of turn, so that was pretty helpful. Haru Hidden Talent. When another ally you control enters, Earthbend 1. So this was a low cost, and it just allowed me to just use my lands as creatures. Came in pretty handy. So if I were to get this like in the beginning of my, I guess at the start of the match, then it would help me just build up the board. And then if I were to later on bring another one, then like, you know, so it came in handy. Yeah, most of the creatures in here were allies. Badger Mole was pretty alright. I wish I would have got the other one, the one that's going for like 60 right now. I thought I had it. I guess I didn't. But when this creature enters, Earthbend 2, creatures you control with ++1 counters on them have trample. So it essentially made it so my lands would, if they were to attack and they were to block, they would still get like the difference of damage. Watery Grass. Again, this one being kind of similar to Rowdy Snowballers pretty much allowed me to just buy myself time. So enchanted creature doesn't untap during its uncontrolled untap step, so now they would have to think twice if they want to attack with that creature, because after they attack, then that creature is kind of null until they get rid of this enchantment. And then Waterbend, obviously, enchanted creature's owner shuffles it into their library. So if they didn't want their creature to be null, they would have to pay 5 mana, put it back in the deck, and have the possibility of drawing it again. Earth Kingdom Jailer, I wish I had more of these. Essentially, this also was a very defensive and clutch card at the same time. So when this creature enters, exile up to 1 target artifact, creature, or enchantment and opponent controls with mana value 3 or greater until this creature leaves the field. So this essentially was like a Swords of Revealing Light. You know, like I wasn't gonna attack with him. He was more just there to like make sure that if they got like a very high powered creature, like, you know, it did help me a lot actually. Sandbender's Storm. I had 2 of these in the deck. Yeah, right there actually. So this one was probably like my only, I guess, destroy or whatever. I think I maybe might have destroyed a creature with power 4 or greater a little bit, but majority of the time I used it for the Earthbending to give me those creatures. Katara, well, I mean, at the beginning of your end step, if Katara is tapped, put a ++1 counter on her, Waterbend, draw a card. Didn't really use that much. She wasn't that, like, I guess, I don't know, she didn't contribute that much. I didn't really use her as much. And yeah, another origin of metal bending. So yeah, so overall I had 2 copies of Sandstorm over here. And again, I also had the Tiger Seal. Tiger Seal is a 1-cost mana. It was good for 1 turn until like the beginning of my next step. But I was able to eventually draw like a card or 2 to untap him, or whatever. So for 1 cost of 3/3, he was a gamble. Earth Kingdom, I just used him as a defensive most of the time. Sacrifices creature, another target ally you control gains indestructible until the end of turn. So like again, if my thing was about to get destroyed, you know, quick little indestructible wasn't such a bad thing. So creatures overall, I think I ran 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, counting the Badget. I'm sorry for the glare. Like, I'll get the lighting right. As like I said, it's like my first time doing this, and I guess Katara. So I had 2 Sandbender Storm, 2 Origin of Metal Bending. I believe I had 2 Pillar Launches. I might have like taken it out, but again, like I didn't really mess with my deck much for the majority of the matches I was in. I thought it was pretty good. You know, I averaged pretty well with my wins to losses. I went in very negative. The night prior, I had a very shitty night of Commander. Like, I just couldn't do anything, and I was like tilted beyond belief, demoralized, and then to like kind of win all these games and get like this wad of cards over here, like it was a good turnaround. For lands, I lucked out. I got a Kyoshi village, so this is a double. It's a green white, so that came in pretty sick. What else did I have? I think I added like Rumble Arena. I didn't get that many good lands, but they did what they had to do. This land had Vigilance, so you know I was turning that thing into a token, and this also allowed me to kind of get a little bit of a hint of what I'm getting next. Because when this land enters, I scry one, and it just gave me colorless mana. I mean, nothing too crazy. I obviously pay 1 mana to get whatever color I was missing. Did come in handy when I didn't have like a blue or green. Like I said, running a deck of like 3 colors was a risky thing to do, but you know what? I was like, uh, let it be. Let it be known that I'm a try regardless. So these were, I guess, 2 lands that were kind of, I don't know, multicolored, I guess. I ran 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 whites. I ran 5 greens, and I ran 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blues. I ran more blues because originally when I was making this deck, I wanted to run. I had, I think, Bloodbending. I think I might have traded it for something. It was just a 4 mana cost. It had to be 4 blue. I was really tempted in putting that into my deck when I originally made this, but there was no way I was gonna net that. I don't know why I went for blue. I guess because I had like, counting the dual land, I had consideration of like 6 white, 6 green. Blue, I ran mostly more because I really did want to use Katara, Katara, and you have to have like 2 blues. So I mean, besides that, I don't know. I guess I could have done a little bit better with that. Maybe I could have went less, but I didn't really have a problem with lands unless I was trying to summon her majority of the time. But yeah, that was pretty good. Originally, I didn't even have this one in here. I didn't have her in here, and I think I didn't have. I'm trying to think what else I didn't have in here. I might have added an extra blue actually for the seal. So I guess my original deck, if I take out these 2 over here, were, because this was modified only on my last round. So I guess I kind of just went like this. Tiger Seal, the Earth Kingdom Protector. I feel that maybe this was like my Karibo, you know, this, as soon as I got rid of him, like I just started getting my ass whooped. So maybe I should have kept him. But overall, I guess I'm gonna demonstrate a little bit on how I ran this thing. Let me just shuffle up a little bit and run a hand and see like how it would have turned out, I guess. Actually, these are probably the 40 actually too, because I only had 40 sleeves. But like I said, those were like extras. I might have missed like a pillar or something in there, but overall, it doesn't change the effectiveness of it, because after we ended at that store, they closed and we went to another store just to chill and check out our cards, trade, you know, do the typical Magic stuff. And yeah, we played a few games. We played, I think, 3 games. I won 2 of them. The third one, I was like, you know what? You got it. I'm tapped out. Like, I have no more mana. I'm exhausted. I didn't have any breaks. Most of my games went to the clock. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's see what my opening hand is. See, like, this opening hand isn't too good. I had too many lands. This is something I would probably throw away. Yeah, I mean, you know, that's not a good hand. I was trying to go for maybe 3 lands at least. 3 lands, or at least like 3 lands, 2 creatures. I can make that work. So there's no shame in mulligan, especially if you're new. Don't feel like you have to like commit. Even though you like go down a card, it is what it is. But like, it's what you're comfortable with. Is what I've found. So let's see what we get for our second hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Obviously, we're not gonna mulligan. Okay, see, this is a little bit more doable. We have Aang, we have Forest King. So essentially, I'll probably try to get the Earth King out early. So we're going to play a land. Opponent plays a land unless he has a 1-drop. Draw, get my water, put that down. They go. Majority of games, most people were playing very like high mannered creatures. They weren't really summoning that much. Another land. We got a plane here. Still can't do nothing. Actually, I overlooked this. Tap 1 for Earth Kingdom protection just in case. I was willing to take the damage. If it's 2 or 3 damage, screw it. I'll take it. Nothing, it's nothing too crazy. Next turn, I got Haru Talent. Ooh, that's a lot better. So we would play this. We would play Haru. The reason I would go with that play is because whenever another ally you control enters, then I get to Earthbend 1, so that would come in real clutch. Again, if he doesn't do anything, I take 2 damage, whatever, let it be. I ain't too scared of taking a little bit of damage if I'm plotting something more. We got an island, and now we would... See, this is pretty good. Because now we can do this. So now we would summon the Earth King. Tap my land for that. And then if we wanted to add another creature, we would tap 1 for Tiger Seal. But that's just building up a board. I get my bear token. We'll use the Final Fantasy die over here as my bear token. Or actually, wait, I have one in here somewhere. Let me nab that out. Let me get you. Where are you? Where are you, Yogi Bear? I need you. I need the Yogi. Where are you? Man, he is like gone. Where the hell did he go? Oh, he's in the pile somewhere, unless I like overlooked him. Yogi Bear, where are you? I think I might have overlooked them. I really don't use tokens. Actually, I should start using tokens. My friend always gets mad at me. He's like, bro, where are your tokens? I'm like, bro, this dice is my token right here, So, yeah, I'm going to use a bear. You get your bear from him. Whenever another ally you control enters, Earthbend 1. I'm going to Earthbend him. There we go. We have a +1 counter on him. I guess that's the one right there. And now, like, I'm not too, like, I could block with this. Most creatures I faced against in this tournament weren't that crazy strong. You weren't seeing anything over, like, 4 or 5 too frequently. It was mostly, like, 2 or 3s. So, like, my bear could tank things. Of course, like, if they were to use something to increase their strength, quick sack on the Earth Kingdom, give him indestructible real quick. If I had mana open, then I would use my instant of Origin of Metal Bending, and that's pretty much how it went. The board was always wide. I had a lot of creatures most of the time. Next turn, he would tap, and then he would untap. So then I would summon Aang. Aang would be a 3 cost, so I would tap most of my mana for him. Did I play a land drop, actually? I don't think I played a land. There we go. So, yeah, I played a land for this turn. If I didn't, I would pay that. I lose track of that sometimes. I'm also talking, so I'm just doing a demonstration of how it went. So when you pop Aang on the field, you pretty much look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Nabs you a quick little 4 or less mana, I believe. Yeah, 4 or less. So, yeah. So we got her out, easy. Having to pay mana. Like I said, like a lot of these cards really work together. Again, shuffle the deck. Summoning that would then, you know, net me another one of these, another 1/1. So now I have 2 of them. So this is pretty much how it went. So it got really frustrating for them because they would try to, like, you know, strike me down, and then like I just kept building my board. It was pretty cool, especially when it was my turn and I got to swing. I wasn't willing to sacrifice these 2, and mostly not a lot of flyers I played against, and the flyers they play against were like pretty low. Again, also I would keep a land open just to trigger Aang's effect. So if I was gonna sack something, it was gonna be like a land. The land would return to my field tap regardless, so I'm not really losing it. Maintain the 1, Aang would transform, etc., etc. So it was a pretty, like I said, my boards were pretty solid most of the time. Not complaining. Get another lesson again, like beginning of my combat phase. Earthbend 2, so I would untap. I would have this. So now I would have a land. Hold on, let me get a die. With you guys, I would get a land that would come in as a 2/2. Yeah. So this is pretty much how it worked. Like there was a lot of synchronicity with the cards I used. Again, if I was willing to sacrifice anything, it would be the lands. Just because like every turn, if I were to trigger my, you know, if I would trigger my effects, like I always have things, and that's essentially why I actually liked having Katara over here, because like she would trigger Aang's effect twice, she would trigger his effect twice, she would trigger the Earth King's effect twice, so I would just keep ramping land and ramping like more of these creatures with haste in them, and it was pretty dirty work. Yeah, proud of myself for this one. I actually managed to make a decent deck. I guess like if you guys have some criticism, you know, leave it in the comments. Tell me what you guys have built, if you did participate in the pre-release, and tell me how you feel about the set. Me, honestly, like I'm not too crazy about the set. The mechanic I really did like that they implemented in this was probably the Earthbending. Definitely builds up your board really fast, in a combination with other things that triggers. Like, you know, like I think another card I'm thinking about right now is what's her name? The Queen of the Machines, whatever her name is, the white mana creature. She's pretty good. I think she's like I have her somewhere. But yeah, no, this was a pretty fun deck to play, and yeah, I wasn't expecting to do that well. But honestly, this bear came in clutch, bro. This bear and the Earth King, yo, they came in so clutch in most of my games. So, you know, I managed to put something decent together, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm probably going to keep this if I run standard with a couple friends, and like this deck is pretty solid actually. I do like it. I wasn't expecting to do that good. I never do really that well at pre-releases, but it came to my attention that apparently I do pretty well, at least at that local store. So hopefully we get to see more stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much it for my video for today. Thank you guys for watching, much appreciated. And yeah, don't be shy, give a sub, leave a like. You want to roast me, go for it. And that's it. Take care, guys.